Hi, hello, hey y'all, hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I'm going to be showing you how I created these antlers. If you'd like to know how I created this psychedelic deer look and the skull as well, then I've got a fully detailed video on this in the description box below, so feel free to check that out. Let's get started. You will need wire, kitchen foil, PVA glue, toilet roll or tissue, acrylic paint, a top coat paint, hot glue gun, a Dremel and optional model magic. Begin by taking your wire, and if your wire is thin like mine, it's not going to be strong enough for what we need, so I'm going to go ahead and just twist them together so they become stronger. Here you can see me twisting 3 pieces of wire, but I later figured that 2 pieces would have been enough. Once you've twisted your wire all up, you can go ahead and start placing it on your headband to where you want it to be, and then while it's on, like so, you then want to twist the wires together again. So where the wire joins onto the headband, I'm just taking some pliers and I'm really squeezing it together to secure it in place. Now bend your wire in shape. Now the beauty of this is you can literally make it any shape or size you like. It's absolutely great and flexible. And yeah, I'm just adding some more wire, as you can see here. Similar to how I attached it to the headband, you then want to attach to your wire and start creating the rest of the horns. As you can see, I'm only using 1 wire for the smaller horns, and that's because the wire is strong enough for the small pieces. Don't forget to use your pliers to secure the joints in place. And for the larger, longer horns, you want to use the thicker wire. So have a play, experiment, have fun until you get the desired look. I'm now taking 1 piece of wire and I'm just attaching this to the bases of the horns, and this is going to secure them in place and ensure that they stay the correct distance apart at all times. Wow, I literally just sounded like I announced the social distancing rule for COVID-19. Anyway, yes, how I'm attaching them is literally just wrapping them around the bases and again going in with my pliers and just squeezing them in place. And then eventually you'll end up with something that looks like this. Now you want to grab your glue gun and you want to glue the joints to secure them all in place and make sure they're really strong and they're not going to move. And unfortunately I got really super excited and I completely forgot, so yeah, don't do that, just don't do that. But they actually turned out absolutely fine and they didn't move at all, which I'm quite impressed about, so yeah, it kind of goes to show how strong the pliers had worked anyway. Now it's time to add the meat on the bone, so we're going to add some kitchen foil on top of the wire, and this is just going to create the thickness and the shape that you want. Now you want to grab your masking tape and you just want to wrap this around the tin foil. A little tip is just try and ensure that it's as flat and as smooth as possible. Don't worry too much if it is a little bit bumpy, we're going to sort that out later. Moving on, so we're going to take some PVA glue and a little bit of water just to dilute it a little bit, and we're going to take some toilet roll or tissue and we're going to start paper macheing. You want to add 3 to 4-ish layers. I mean, you can add more if you want, that's absolutely fine. It will go heavy when it's wet, but as soon as it dries it will lighten up quite a lot. By the way, do you like my amazingly beautiful, high quality stand? I mean, it's excellent, isn't it? Next you want to grab your Dremel and start sanding away the rough surface, and this is going to create a smooth textured surface, and this is going to really replicate real antler horns. Now the sandpaper that I'm using is quite thick, so this is leaving some lines as I'm doing this, but this is absolutely excellent because it's actually the perfect texture for what I want to achieve, because I'm trying to create a realistic look. But if for some reason you are trying to achieve some more fake looking horns or absolutely smooth horns, then you want to then grab some finer sandpaper and just go ahead and sand that away as well. The top tip I'd say for this step is to sand vertically rather than horizontally, because this is going to create the wrong texture if you did. And obviously if you're doing this with kids, you want to do this step yourself, or you can skip it. Prepare to get covered in dust. The beauty of creating these horns are if you were to accidentally sand too much off, you can then easily go back and just paper mache it back in. Next you want to grab some Model Magic, and I'm using Model Magic because it's really lightweight, which is perfect for what we need, and I'm just going to create some points on the tops. Now this is completely optional, you do not need to do this. I'm just really fussy and I'm really big on details. So it's literally just making little balls, putting them on the tips and then just shaping them while they're on, and you want to use your finger and smooth and blend them down. Now I'm just gluing the base in place because I forgot to glue the joints earlier, but you might want to do this anyway even if you didn't forget. This step is also completely up to you and optional, but I'm taking a hot glue gun and I'm just going to go ahead and start creating texture, mainly near the bases of the horns because I'm trying to replicate some realistic horns as much as I can. Alright, so you probably want to do this outside. As you can see, I have such a lovely stand. I've used a peanut butter box and a brick inside it to hold it in place. If anyone wants to donate a head to me, feel free. Wait, what? So for this I'm just going to be using a primer in grey. So you want to give it a good shake. Oh, and the reason why I'm using grey is because you want to use a dark colour underneath, which is going to help the next steps when painting. You can also use a black, that would work absolutely fine as well. Moving on to the fun parts, so you want to grab your acrylic paints and start painting them. Now if you're trying to achieve a realistic look, then there are techniques to this which I'm currently using, and I'm beginning by dry brushing. So I'm taking a creamy white and I'm literally just taking a brush and removing the excess paint, and I'm just lightly brushing this onto the surface. This can be slightly time consuming and you want to build up your layers bit by bit. A really good technique for this is I painted horizontally in the direction of the horns. I did this so the bristles of my brush wouldn't go into the grooves and cracks of the horns and cover the grey areas. I really wanted the grey areas to show deliberately underneath, and this really brings out the texture. Again, it's up to you what colour you'd like to paint it. I'm trying to go for a dark brown to a light cream gradient from the bottom to the top. To do this I basically dry brushed the brown on again, just like you did with the cream, and then you want to soften it as it goes upwards. While I was waiting that to dry off a little bit, I painted the headband in black. Then taking some dark brown, preferably dark would be best. You want to really dilute this with a lot of water, and you're going to do the washing technique and wash over the whole horn, and then you're going to grab some tissue and dab away. And this is going to create some really realistic texture, create some details, and even make it look a little bit dirty and natural. I'm now going back in with a light cream and I'm painting the tips. This is just going to create a stronger contrast between the dark and the light and strengthen the gradient effect. And then finally, for the cherry on top of the cake, I'm then going back in with a creamy white and I'm just going to horizontally dry brush onto the raised areas. I'm doing this in the more thicker areas at the bottom. Thanks so much for watching my video. I really hope you enjoyed it and you found it helpful. If you ever recreate these horns, please tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see your own versions. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment on my video, that would be much appreciated, and follow me on Instagram at gothspectrum. Thanks so much and I'll see you later.